It is our quality time interview on Kansas Sports Chatter as we get to spend a little extra time with our next guest, Jeremiah Meeks, the head coach of the Wellington High School football team. Hey, coach, appreciate your time. And I think you're a Western Kansas guy, right?
Yes, sir.
So how did a Western Kansas guy end up in Wellington? Get kind of guide us through your coaching path.
So when I got done at school at Hayes, I coached for a year at Piney Heights, and then I went to McPherson to coach to college there for 4 years. And then I took the Mound Ridge job and coached there for 6 years, and I still taught at McPherson. And then when the Wellington job came open, I had some friends down here and kind of wanted to move up into 4A, and that's how that happened. So
So being from Hanston, like, what was it like? I mean, because like for people that aren't familiar with Hanston now, basically Hodgman County, like, I mean, Hanston was a powerhouse. What was it like going to Hanston?
it was a lot of fun. I mean, obviously, got to play for one of the best coaches, Coach Slayton. I lost 2 games my whole high school career, and both those were in state title games. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it was one of those you expected to win every Friday, and you got to win a bunch of games and win state titles with your buddies, and it was a lot of fun.
Like growing up through that system, was there just like a culture of like successful athletic programs? Like, what was it like in that culture?
Yeah, I mean, when you were growing up, everybody went to the football games. You were excited to play for coach when you got up there. You knew you were going to be good, and they started. I think they were really, really good my fifth grade year, sixth grade year, and then they started making. We made the runs to state for 7 years in a row after that. So
At what point, like growing up in Hanston, did you kind of realize that you wanted to go on and play at the next level?
Probably about my sophomore year, I was like, yeah, I kind of want to keep playing, and then that's kind of when the coaching, like I really started thinking about what I wanted to do, and teaching and coaching was something that I really wanted to do. So, I talked to coach about that a lot, like ideas, and then it just kind of stuck, and that's pretty much the only thing I ever wanted to do after that was coach football and teach.
So why you went started out at Dodge City? What was the playing experience like at Dodge City?
It was fun. JUCO's fun. I mean, it was. And that was back when you still had the limited out of state kids, so it was a lot of Kansas kids running around, and it was a good time. So
You look at, other stops, like, as far as, like, building your coaching resume, like, what did you learn, like, even after playing at Dodge City and going on to Fort Hays?
well, I didn't play at Hayes. I just went to school up there when I was at Dodge, so I played at Dodge and then just went to Hayes. But just learning about the game, studying, watching, just it's kind of one of those that coaching's one of those you got to be in it to get better at it. And you're going to do a lot of dumb stuff in your first few years. You're like, ooh, that was a terrible idea. Why did I do that? And it just takes time to kind of build, your plan and what you got. And everything adds up and helps.
Getting your start, like, you talk about, like, getting that first coaching position, what was that process like for you?
When I, so I coached at Piney Heights for a year. I think we had 9 kids playing that year. Um, it was, I was super young, had no idea what I was doing. But it was good to get started there. And then going to the college was the best benefit for me because, I got introduced to a different style of offense and the 11-man game even more, and learned from college coaches, learned how to grind, kind of put everything in, spend the time, and that was huge.
You talk about learning at the college level, like, what things stood out to you that you've really kinda taken now even to this current day?
Just, kind of managing practices, how you script everything, the time you put into the first guy I worked for was, I mean, he was a really, really good offensive mind, and just kind of how he approached teams and attacked things. So that was beneficial for me.
You talk about scripting things and kind of figuring out practices. Like, what's your strategy now? I know it kind of probably differs at different times of the year, but at the same time, like, how do you put a practice together? We'll just say at this current moment, like, what's your strategy?
So we try to do. I mean, we're hammering out offense and defense both days. I mean, I know some teams try to do like an offensive day and a defensive day. That's something I changed when I came down here that I did a little differently. Other places I wanted to get them both in equal amounts of time. We're pretty run heavy on Tuesdays, and then all of our RPO stuff on Wednesdays. So we kind of structure that, and then between inside run and skelly and team, I'm trying to get 60 plays in each day for the kids. So we're getting a ton of offensive plays, and then defensively we're doing the same thing. So they're getting a ton of plays in both ways.
Jeremiah Meeks, head coach of the Wellington football team, joining us here on the show. What's your weekend like as a coach? Because I always find it fascinating just the amount of time that goes into investing into a good program and building that up. For your coaching staff, what's a typical weekend look like?
So I give them Saturdays. Saturdays are off for my coaches, and I also do it a little bit different. I give the kids the whole weekend off. I used to bring them in on Sundays, and um, with the way Huddle is, where they can watch it on their phones, we send them stuff they need. They're kids; they need time off. So Saturday is kind of for the coaches. I got a pretty young staff, and they've got a bunch of young kids. So there's flag football and youth football and everything else going on. So and then Sundays we come in at 1 and we'll meet from 1 to about 4:30 or 5. Everybody has their stuff put together by then, and then we'll go through the game plan and go from there. Obviously for me, Saturday I'm watching it, on and off all day long and into the night, and then Sunday the same way. So
When you start breaking things down for that next opponent, is it a pretty simple process as far as what Huddle provides for you? I mean, nowadays, like, is it a pretty simple process?
yeah, it's simple. It's time consuming, but it's simple. But with Huddle, with the breakdown and everything, when you go through, and I'm blessed to have a pretty big coaching staff. I got 8 assistant coaches plus myself. So 4 on defense, and then 4 on offense, and then myself. So my O line coach starts breaking stuff down. My quarterback coach starts breaking stuff down, and then I start putting everything together. Everybody has their ideas. So Huddle makes it. I mean, there's so much data on Huddle that if you use it right, it's very beneficial for you as a coach.
Coaching in the Shrine Bowl last year, what was that experience like being on that staff?
That was a blast. That was one of the coolest things I've got to do. Obviously, got to work with Pav, McPherson, good buddy, and I got and to meet the rest of the coaches. A lot of those guys I had met in passing, but hadn't spent a lot of time with, and they were all really good dudes, and we had a lot of fun. And then getting to coach the kids, and obviously just for what the Shrine Bowl is about. I mean, that's the coolest thing. Each kid that asks about it, I tell them like, you're going to have a really cool experience, and you're going to have a lot of fun, and you're going to figure out why you're actually playing this game for the Shriners and everything. So it's like I said, it was one of the coolest experiences. And like my oldest boy he hung out with me a couple days and was at practices and did all the pregame stuff with us. So it was a pretty neat experience for everybody involved.
When you get all those coaches together, just purely from the coaching standpoint, what's that like when you've heard about these coaches, you've seen the success they've had, and then all of a sudden you're around them for a week?
It's awesome. I mean, it's like a week long coaches clinic. Like you're asking different ideas. You've got like Coach Teeter's super young coach, so he was and then you got like Coach Gebhardt who'd been doing it for 100 years, and it just pulling all that experience was cool to getting to talk to all these guys and see what they do well and what they don't do well, and if there's something you'd struggled with in the past, like, hey, how do you guys approach this, and then just talking football. I mean, we'd get done with practices in the evenings and sit around and talk football and watch the film and just BS. And that was one of the funnest parts of it, just talking ball with everybody.
You look at what you've been able to accomplish already at Wellington. You go back to that first season, that 5-4 campaign, then back-to-back 8-3 starts, or back-to-back 8-3 seasons, and then a great start this year. Like for you, like what has been key in that natural incline in your success?
Just getting the kids to buy in. I mean, we had 44 kids when I took over here, and we've averaged anywhere between 65 and 70 kids since then. The kids are bought in, that they'll play hard for me. I mean, it's a testament to them because they put the time in the weight room. This group of seniors is obviously my first freshman. I mean, that was my first full 4 years, and they've bought in. They've done a great job. They're good leaders, and it's just building something is hard. It takes time, and then keeping it going is harder. And you got to have the kids buy in to be able to do that.
Anything that stands out as far as being keys to getting kids to buy in? Have you noticed anything?
Building a relationship. I mean, it's just like anything. I mean, if you ask any good teacher, or good coach, or any employer, like that, those relationships are huge. If you don't have a relationship with anybody, they're not gonna, especially kids, they're not gonna work for you. They're not gonna trust you, and if they don't trust you, they're not gonna buy in. So
No, this worked out really well so far. Hey, coach, appreciate it. Best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
That is Jeremiah Meeks, head coach of the Wellington High School football team. That'll do it for our quality time interview.